You told me that you would like me to tell you where I was born. I was born in Torrington, Connecticut at Charlotte Hungerford Hospital in 1953. I was born with socializations. Yeah, I like people. See, I started out, there I am, me. Happy and in a huge family, so I was forced to learn to get along, learn to talk to people, this sort of thing. I was number 5 in my family of 12. And so when there's chaos and confusion at the town hall, I'm in my glory, because that's what I grew up with. Noise and people everywhere. So I was born in Torrington, Connecticut, and then I started at Salisbury Central School as a kindergartner, and then my father, Mr. Dale Palmer here, who was a construction bricklayer, he decided he wanted to go back to his roots in Kirtland, New Mexico. So he packed up whatever family was there at the time, because there were a lot of younger sisters that hadn't been born, and we moved out to Kirtland, New Mexico. And in Kirtland, New Mexico, I had this wonderful first grade class. There I am, very happy. Don't know if you can see it all well, but you can see there were Navajo Indians. I love diversity. Yes, I love having lots of friends. I'm a person that likes big classes and learned so much from my friends. Here's my best friend, Sue Hutchinson.
You only stayed in Kirtland, New Mexico for a year?
Yes.
He didn't like it? He decided
No,
to
actually, he liked it very much because all his family is from out there. But it was too much of a shock. My mother, they started off in a coal mine or something like that, a little shack. And I think my mother found a snake in the house one day, and there was an outhouse, and it was tough.
My baby was only 11 months, but I didn't like New Mexico. We lived there a year, and the wind blew this way in the morning and that way in the afternoon. It just seemed like we never had a nice, peaceful day. That wind would blow up all that dust and sand, and I was really very tired of it. And so I asked my husband and several times, look, let's just pack up and go home. We were very, very poor. We were not penniless. I never had a nickel in my pocket. I had about $200 because the school year was over, and I thought, I've got to make it. I was just so nervous and distraught. It was just very, very hard. We lived about 5-10 miles out of town, out in the desert with the rattlesnakes and the coyotes, cactus and sagebrush. I mean, New Mexico is desert country. Mm-hmm. Well, we had quite a time. I got them into the car right after my husband went to work. After he said, no, we're definitely going to stay here and we're going to fight it out. We're going to have packed up the kids and I took off.
She just told everybody, pack a pillowcase. That was her thing. Pack a pillowcase, and we're getting in the Volkswagen bus, and we're leaving. And my sister Jean, I think she said she was 13 or 14 years old, and 14, and she helped Mom drive across country. She just left a note for Dad saying, "Sorry, can't stay." Can't stay in New Mexico anymore. So the first thing we did is we got into Colorado at this place called Wolf Creek Pass, and there had just been a story about some of the Navajo Indians or one of the tribes going off the side. There were no railings and stuff, and it was really high up, and you could see, way down below there's a creek, and there were, of course, 6-year-old visualizing wolves and stuff, but she just kept praying. My mother prayed a lot, and that Volkswagen bus would get us up over that mountain and across this narrow, and I remember looking down and like, yikes. She drove back to Torrington, and a couple of weeks later my father came back, and he built a house in Salisbury, right on the sharp corner on Route 44, and went into business. Just plugged away, worked hard, every day. Very, very hard-working man. He never believed in paying rent. He would buy houses. He would show up at a closing, like he showed up at this closing and said this house came with 38 acres that he didn't know, part of river frontage and all that. He bought the house up the road, brick house, 48 Dublin Road, and found out that it came with the house across the street. He bought the house on Sand Road, the farmhouse, and found that it came with 26 acres, So he did well. He couldn't find help. He hired a lot of local people. But like he said, as soon as he gave them their paycheck on Friday, they'd go out and get drunk and or be arrested, and he wouldn't have any help on Monday morning. My father was a Mormon bishop, so there was no drinking and smoking in my family. Alcohol is an alien thing to me. So, which was strange because I ended up being a cocktail waitress at the Interlaken for a little while.
Did you work as a child?
I did. What a good question. He would bring home lots of old brick with the concrete stuck on them.
Right.
And he would pay me 1 penny per brick. That's why my wrists are so strong in my hands. I would tap, tap. I would sit out there for hours taking a little brick and tap, tap, tapping and getting the concrete off because the old brick, and then he could take them and use them for his business. And I was a waitress, so I got a job. I just thought that was the best thing I'd ever, to be able to have a job. And then I waitressed first at Johnny's Restaurant, then at Ragamont in Salisbury, and then at the White Hart Inn, where I was having trouble getting back and forth. So John Harney said, just come live here. That's fine, So I lived at the White Hart, met so many friends. My sister called up and said, what are you going to college for? And I said, well, I really love French, and I really, in all honesty, Assumption College had a male-female ratio of 7 to 1, male to female. I'd like to go meet somebody. I loved it being near Boston. I just wanted that. She goes, oh, so what are you going to do with a French degree? And I said, well, I'll be a teacher. And she goes, oh, you'd be a teacher and make $5,000-$6,000 a year is what she was making at the time. And I'm like, holy smokes, I make more than that working as a waitress at the White Hart. That sounds awful. And she goes, yep, just a repeat of high school. And I'm like, ah. So she said, what do you really want to do? And I said, I really want to travel more than anything in the world. I wanted to travel, so I found this work-study abroad group, and the Sunday after graduation from Housatonic on Friday, Sunday, I was out of here. I flew on Sabena Airlines and flew into Brussels, Belgium, and we hitchhiked around. And
you were like 18 or
I was
something?
18 years old. We had a great time, and we hitchhiked back, and summer flew by. We had a great time. I got on a plane, came back to Falls Village, hated it. It's cold. My family, all were doing different things. I just felt like there is no future for me in Falls Village. So I got on a plane, in January and flew out to my friend Christine Barnes, who had left me in France, and that we were tent mates, you know. So I flew out to meet her and stayed with her family in Riverside, California for a little while, and tried a couple jobs, didn't work. My first job, it said, need help in a small appliance distribution center. And I'm like, okay. After a week of training, I realized I've just signed up to be a Kirby vacuum cleaner salesman. That's okay. I said, a job is a job.
Yeah.
I had a broken down Volkswagen Bug. That was always my, vehicle of choice, little Bug. And I sold vacuum cleaners, but nobody had any good credit, so I'd have to go back and pick up the vacuum cleaner, and it just was not working. I almost called it quits when I went to the unemployment office, and there they had those big old bulletin boards with the index cards, and let's see, I saw one card, office help needed, $1.65 an hour, part-time, or light typing helpful, part-time. I said, oh, I should be able to do that. Well, I went and called, and they said, sure, come in for an interview. There were 22 people applying for this job. I walk in, and the only question this one attorney had is, can you spell? And I said, yes, I can spell. That's, I'm only taking college prep courses. I do know how to, but I took one summer school course of typing, so I knew how to type a little bit. And I got hired. I mean, it wasn't easy. I had to call back, and they hired me because I called back so many times, and that I was so wanting to learn. Well, I walk in, and it's a lawyer's office, and I'm the receptionist, and I don't know anything. I don't understand it, and for, I would say, 6 months, I would go home and cry my eyes out. I just did. It was too hard. I had just come from a foreign country, Belgium, where they speak Flemish and French, and English. So I had a little bit of work. Now I'm in a law office speaking legalese. It's a whole nother language, and nothing made sense. And I was just so damn stubborn. I finally called my mother up, and she said, please, just come home. We'll work it out. That's what I needed to hear, to say, no way am I going back there. I just know there's nothing there for me. So I stuck it out, and after 6 months, I really got to love it. Not like it. I mean, I loved everything about it. I couldn't wait to learn this and that. And it was a general law practice. So I became the specialist, well known in Riverside, California, as you want to go to that law firm to get your divorce. Here I am, an 18-year-old, 19, thinking I can counsel people in their divorces and help them. Well, I did take on process serving, which you can do. You didn't need any training for that. So I'd work 9 to 5, and then after hours I would go and serve papers all over Southern California. And I remember one time I got this Mexican family. They were hot-tempered and I got up there, and he's like, swore at me in Spanish. So that was good. I didn't understand, but I could tell by his facial movements that he was not happy with me. And so he ran. He was not going to take my papers. So I was the captain of the softball team at Housatonic. I took him, and I got him, and I hit him. And they called the law firm so angry. And the thing I remember about that is they called me, do you send that skinny broad out here? I thought, oh, finally somebody called me a skinny broad. I just loved that. And so anyway, that, I took a lot of chances, a lot of close calls of getting myself into a big problem. But in hindsight, it's like, wow, I survived, I did it. So that went on for 4 years. I had a wonderful time. I loved California. I came back finally for a visit. I finally got homesick. I didn't really write or call much back here, but finally I said, okay, I'm coming back. And came up on a bus, Mom picked me up in Canaan, and here's this car loaded with kids, and barely could squeeze in with my suitcase, and came home, and I was like, nothing has changed. There's nothing. I can't do this. I can't be around here. So I only visited a couple hours, and I ended up going to see my sister, Jean, and her name's Jean Gallinelli now. And I went down, and I said, I just, I don't know why I came back to visit. I'm really happy in California. Well, what do you like so much about California? I said, I've got a great job. I have fabulous friends. I've got a beautiful apartment, a beautiful new car. Well, you could have all that here, she said. I said, well, she's in New Haven. Okay. I said, really? I'd never thought of that. She says, yeah, why don't you just look around? So I called up one place to you know, apply for a job. And I said, why not? They hired me instantly. And I walked out of there and I said, what did I just do?
What kind of business was it?
Jacobs and Grudberg, another law firm.
Law firm. Uh-huh.
I did the best I could. I was going a little bit crazy. I only lasted 2 months and said, I just can't stand this. So I opened up the book, the yellow pages, to attorneys, and I call Beckett, Ford, Dooley, and Barnes. And they put me through to Stuyvesant Barnes. Not Thaddeus ones. This is Stuyvesant Barnes.
Oh, no pictures, no, they'll get me, the FBI will get me.
Especially if you're around me. Yes. So we had so much fun. I learned so much, and he would plan other stuff for, you know, the whole office. We went up to Tanglewood, and he'd come over and split wood, and it was great. I met so many interesting people and so many things. So I worked there for the next 5 years. And what did I do then? Oh yeah, I was home, and my brother Dale said, come on, we're all going out to roller skating in Pittsfield. And I thought, that's a strange thing. Suddenly, I am going to the Pittsfield roller skating, where I'd never been roller skating before, with somebody named Mark Miteau. I started talking to Mark, and he spoke French to me, and I fell in love. That's it. But not before, when we're coming from Pittsfield to Sheffield, Mass. Mark drove well over 100 miles an hour in that Shelby Mustang in the pouring down rain, and I can remember distinctly seeing my obituary. But we didn't die. He did make it. But when he spoke French to me, I don't know what happened. I just thought, oh my gosh, this is not just running around crazy, speeding. He was smart, and he was funny, and he came back to my house that night, and I said, look, I'm going to Florida in a few days with my brother Dale, my sister Therese, and so we did long-awaited vacation, and before I left, he was like, don't you think we should get married?
And you had known him how long?
Couple days.
Couple days.
Not very long. Long story short, in June of 1980, we got married. We had a daughter, Laura Miteau. I had a little boy, Luke Miteau. And Laura just had so much fun with him. Like, she would take all the pots and pans out of the cabinets and put Luke in there and pull all the cushions off the couch and make houses. And it was her play friend. Mark joined the Army. Here we were, a construction company, me with 2 little kids, toddlers, a backhoe, trucks, trailers, everything, a workforce, and Mark joins the Army. And it's like bye-bye birdie, you know. You just stop what you're doing and abandon this life and join the Army. So that's what he did. And he excelled at it. It was like that was what Mark was meant to do in his life. So we went through basic training, and then he went through advanced individual training, AIT, which is fixing helicopters. And then he got into flight school. So that went on for 11 years, and then we got divorced. I got 2 little grandsons, Mark Mito Hafner, his name is, and then I have my Patrick. So I think it was Kay Blass who told me, Mary, you would really make a good town clerk. And I was like, really? Yes, really. You should you should consider this. So I said, okay. You know, I thought about it, but it's a long process. And I won. I was like, oh my gosh. You know, they said that was something different. I am a Democrat, and there had never been a Democrat elected. That's just, that in the olden days, this was a very much a Republican town. And so for minority representation, they allowed some token Democrats on different boards and commissions. But I was a Democrat, and I campaigned. I went out and I did knock on a lot of doors. And that was not done usually in Falls Village. So I knocked on doors, and I distributed some literature, and I had some pens made up, and I met people at the dump. You know, that was the way. Finally, you'll see the transfer station now. And so I put some work into it, and I said, yes, I would like to be town clerk. I feel I'm well qualified. And Lucille Marston wrote, who was a former town clerk, wrote and said to the, letters to the editor, I feel Mary would be an excellent town clerk because of her training with lawyers, basically, or work in the law office. And so I did win. By a 2-to-1 victory, I won it. Now, having done it for 22 years, the vault, the monster
Glad you're getting some exercise.
Yes, about time, huh? Okay, wait. And we stop it before it goes through the wall on the other side. And we put this thing down, and now we're open for business. What do I do as the town clerk? The biggest part of the town clerk's office is the maintaining the land records. Here, so come in and I'll show you the land records here. Come through. Here's volumes. We're up to volume 78 right now. We still have some more space. But here are the assessor cards for all of, so maintaining, and there are the indexes. These are very important to find who owned what and when. Then there's maps and stuff. So this is the very important part. Not that other things aren't important, but anyway, this is the most important part of my job, is maintaining the land records, who owns what, and how is it encumbered.
That 2 becomes a 3.
And it's here?
Oh,
I don't think I would do it here if that was the case.
what a great sense of humor. I am justice of the peace, but I, as a town clerk, can't marry people in the town in which I issue the marriage license.
I just
state of Connecticut, and all these wonderful witnesses over here.
We did it!
Can I kiss the bride? I mean, I high five the bride.
16. And I'm using the seal. It says seal. Ooh, oh.
Yes. It's not a seal. It's a lion.
There you go. Certified, signed, sealed.
Ta-da!
Pull it.
Hey,
Okay.
congratulations.
We did it! High five!
Animal control officer I am too. That takes a lot of time, but thanks to Facebook and so many wonderful people in this town who jump and rally, and we get those dogs back. Different people would come in here to the town hall and see that something was wrong with my face, and I went to my nurse practitioner, doctor, Gloria Tatspaw, who graduated the same year as I did from Housatonic, and she couldn't figure out what it was. She said, oh, maybe it's Lyme disease, maybe it's Bell's palsy. She got me an appointment with Dr. Finkelstein and Sharon very quickly, and he sent me for an MRI with and without contrast, and it comes back a 7-millimeter schwannoma. But it's only because of the people in this town hall and my good friend Gloria that I was able to nip it in the bud rather quickly. You know, I get some residual palsy and stuff, but who cares? Like I said to everybody, I don't have to look at myself, so that's it. I wanted to tell you that. This is a World War II veteran. You agree with that?
That's right.
And his name is Edward Nickerson. And he was in Italy
That's right.
in the
10th Mountain Division.
10th Mountain Division. And what mountains were those? They're not
The Apennines.
the what are they?
We fought in the Apennines.
You know, we don't have many World War II vets running around, and especially the skiers. I'll bet it's because you were a skier, that
Yeah.
you were in such good shape for all.
Yeah, well,
Did you have only the finest skis to work with?
no, but we trained on skis, but you have to remember that there's no snow in July. They called us the ski tubes because it was very glamorous, you know, for publicity purposes. But we did other things.
What other things?
We just trained as infantry,
Okay, you
and we
trained.
rock climbed, and our artillery was born on mules. A mule is a very stubborn animal.
Yes. I know. So,
I didn't have to handle a mule except once,
wow.
and I tried to control it. And they ran away with me with some maneuvers back in the States. And I had a rope tied to his jaw, and he just lifted me up and spun me around. But there are not many of us left.
No. My dad was one, and
I was only 19 when I was overseas.
19. And you're how old today?
I am 90.
You just turned 90?
No, I turned 90 last July.
Okay.
I'm going to be 91 in 2 months.
See, I'm going up there to sing some songs with Jan Tenney, who is going to be 91 May 4th.
Yeah.
So many good memories. Do you know me at all? Be truthful.
It's been a while, but oh, you betcha my life I have.
Well, hello, Dolly. Well,
Hello, darling.
It's so nice to see you back where you belong.
If you're going to take my picture, I've got to put some lipstick on.
No, you look great. You look fine.
You just got your hair done?
Yeah, but I don't. I've worn off my
Okay.
lipstick.
Here. Tell me the tales that to me were so dear.
Long, long ago. long, long ago.
Sing me the songs I delighted to hear. Long, long ago, long ago. Now you are come, all my grief is removed. Let me forget that so long you have roved. Let me believe that you love as you loved. Long, long ago, long ago. Do you remember the path where we met? Long, long ago, long, long ago. Oh, yes, you told me you'll never forget. Long, long ago, long ago. Then to all others my smile you preferred. Love when you spoke gave a charm to each word. Still my heart treasures the praises I heard. Long, long ago.